I'm out here driving Uber tonight, and I just picked up this amazing young girl from the airport. She flew in because she lost a family member unexpectedly, and she never lost anyone before, and she was really torn up about it. And I told her that I've lost everyone, every one of my family members. And she asked if I had any advice about grief and how to get through this. And I told her that, after everything I've learned, I made the mistakes when I was younger of not dealing with grief, running from it. And what I learned is I see grief as a person. I see grief as an unwanted, unwelcome, uninvited house guest that must be accommodated. None of us want it, but all of us are going to get it. And if you get that kind of house guest, you're inclined to lock the doors, turn out the lights, and pretend you're not home. If you do that with grief, it'll go away, but it's only going as far as the costume store. And it's going to dress itself up as something really interesting and enticing to you. And it's going to come back, and you're going to let it in because you don't know what the hell it is. And because you don't know what it is, it's going to be wreaking havoc in your life. And you may not know that it was grief until, weeks or months or even years later. And that's the last thing you want. I mean, this grief, if it is a person, it's entitled to a certain amount of your attention and respect. And it's going to get it. It's going to get what it feels it's due. And you might as well give it to it, because if you don't, it's going to take it, and then it's going to be worse. And you're already dealing with this grief. You're already feeling it. So why run from it? What you need to do is allow it. Allow it to exist with you and observe it passively. You don't want to engage with it. You don't want to, let it influence you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You don't want to wallow in it, and you don't want to be consumed by it. You want to observe it passively. And the way you can do this is constantly checking in with yourself and asking yourself, how are you feeling? Are you depressed, anxious, stressed? Are you lashing out at people? You doing things that you wouldn't normally do? Are you drinking a lot? What are you doing or not doing? Because this grief is present. And when you see yourself kind of veering off the path, you can correct. I mean, right now you have the opportunity to deal with this while you see it for what it is, while you can keep an eye on it. Otherwise, it's going to manifest itself in your life in ways that you're not going to be able to recognize and not being able to control. If you run from it, it's going to mow you down over and over. If you push it down over here, it's like whack-a-mole. It's going to pop up over there. And now it's really pissed. And it's got, longer, sharper fangs. And it means to do you even more harm. Deal with it now, while you can, before it has its way with you. Because it's going to get what it came for. And I like to think of it as, the more mindful you are, the more attention you pay to it yourself, the more you observe it. It's kind of like you're filling in all those little cracks and it can't slip through, and it starts to respect your hustle. It sees it's not going to get anywhere. And it says, okay, I got you. And it leaves on its own. It doesn't stay forever. And it leaves you relatively unscathed. The loss is really the mark that's left. But the grief, it's not going to do the damage that it will do if you don't deal with it while you have the opportunity. It's very important to deal with it. And it's actually really easy. You're already grieving. Just pay a little more attention, check in a little more. I mean, it sucks, it's painful, but we're all getting this, every one of us who've ever loved anyone. If you lose them, we're all dealing with it, you know. And I don't want to. Don't ask yourself why me. Ask yourself why not me, you know, because we do all have to deal with this, and all of these things, you know, good and bad and all this stuff, we feel like, you know, we don't deserve it. We feel like we're only entitled to the good stuff in life, and that's not true at all. We're not even built to have all the good stuff in life. I mean, you wouldn't know what light was had you never been in the dark, you know? You wouldn't know what direction up was if you'd never been down. And, I mean, you wouldn't know that you were the good guy if there weren't a bad guy over there. You know, you have to have the bad guy to know that you're the good guy. You have to have felt sorrow in order to feel joy. There has to be good, and there has to be bad. These things are one thing. They're inseparable, you know. Life is a balance, and so when you get this grief or things that you feel like you don't deserve, all it means is that you're getting the full spectrum of what life has to offer. And it's about what? The negative stuff is about 48%. I don't want to be victimized by my own experience. I'm not inviting grief and pain and sorrow into my life, but I'm grateful for it. It must be. You know? It must be. So, you know, when you feel happiness, just be humble, because sadness is on its way. And when you feel sadness, be patient, because happiness is on its way. And always remember that when you pursue happiness, you are actively, by default, pursuing sadness as well. It's just a fact. If you go after happiness, you're going after sadness. They're one thing. They can't be separated. So don't be victimized by what we consider the negative side of life. You're just getting the full experience, you know? And my brother, he died a couple of years ago. He went on his dream vacation down to Ecuador, and he passed away down there. And he was only 51 years old. He was my big brother. I had never lived a day of my life without him in it. And when I saw that phone call pop up, U.S. Embassy, I knew. Yeah. It shocked me, it ripped me apart, but because I'm able to look at life in this way and deal with grief head on, I'm not burying myself with substances to numb the emotions. I am continuing on and trying to remember that the only reason it hurts so much is because I loved him so much. And I hope that you all are well.